Hello everybody, greetings. Welcome back to the channel. It's so good to see you again today. I'm glad you made your way right on back because this is a channel where we discuss mastering self, how to improve our character, and how to basically just elevate and ascend ourselves. So today we do have a very important topic. It is very vital to the whole channel and to the whole series that we'll be talking about. And it is about the most important relationship that you'll ever have in life, the relationship with self. So my question to you is, do you like self? Do you know who self is? Who are you? So before we dive too deep into the topic, guys, please remember to like this video. If you like the content that I'm giving you, go ahead and drop that like for me. Also, be sure to share this video with a friend or two or three or four, because sharing is how we learn this information. We got to get it around. We got to get it circulating. We got to get people's minds going. We have to get those creative juices flowing as well. Be sure that you have already subscribed as a member to the channel, and also turn on that post notification bell. So as soon as I drop a video or once I hit that live, you'll be notified and you can go in and hop on to the channel so that we could chop it up. All right. So now that we have all of those little housekeeping duties taken care of, let's go ahead and get into today's topic. So it's about relationship with self. Do you like self? Do you know who self is? How deep have you gone within self? Are there any surfaces of self, any crevices that you are avoiding or haven't explored in quite some time? Do you have some unfinished business left in certain areas of your life? Well, that's what we need to get through. That's what we're going to have to work through in order to improve ourselves, because this relationship that you have with self is going to be the most important relationship that you have in your entire life, because it will affect the relationships that you have outwardly with others. Depending on how much you put in, depending on what you have within you, will vitally determine exactly what it is that you put out and give out to others as well. So you have to start with analyzing, of course. You're going to have to go in, do some self-analysis and do some reflection and do some thinking, so you can figure out where you are now and then figure out where you want to go, and then create some kind of blueprint or some kind of guide that's going to aid you along the way as you take it to your journey. So the first thing that we'll go over is, how do you think about yourself? And come on, y'all have to be vitally honest with yourself and transparent when it comes to this. How do you think about yourself? You don't have to tell anybody else. You don't have to say this out loud. This is something that you want to reflect and analyze on the inside. So exactly who you are right now and where you are today, how do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about the person you're becoming? How do you feel about the person who you were and who you are now? Do you feel like you're lacking right now in life? Do you feel like you're missing out on something? Do you feel like something's missing? Do you feel like you're doing everything that you could possibly be doing right now? Do you feel like you are on track of acquiring all the goals that you have for yourself in life? Do you feel satisfied right now in life? Do you love exactly where you are and you're just anticipating with excitement for the next, days or weeks or months in life? Are you ready for the next chapter? How do you feel right now? How do you feel about things that troubled you in the past? Are you holding any kind of grudges with anyone or anything? Do you have any type of phobias? These are some things that you want to ask yourself as you do some deep reflection and some analyzing. Because in order to figure out where you're going, you do have to know where you are right now. Yes, it is important to know exactly where you're going, but it's also important to analyze and actually acknowledge where you are right now, because this is what's going to build your wisdom that will come to you in the future. by acknowledging exactly where you are right now and then creating like some type of plan or some type of strategy to get to your end goal, that little middle point right there, that's character development. That's what we're talking about. That's what we want to be doing. So that little space between right now and where you want to be going, acknowledging it, creating that plan, and then actually taking actions towards that plan, that's what we want to be doing right now. That's going to build our character. That's going to build who we are moving forward and the person who is to come. That is going to be setting the new foundation of the person that you are acquiring to be, that you want to be. So when you think about yourself, I also want you to think about something else. I want you to think about certain decisions that you've made in life, the way you are, your personality, certain character traits that you have. Where did they come from? Are they character traits that you've actually developed on your own, like that's just who you are? Or are they character traits that you may have picked up from family members or people or things around you that condition you to think and feel and be a certain way, like school or religion, for example? That's going to be very important because you have to decide, who am I? Am I really me, moving as an individual, doing what I want to do, doing what pleases me, doing what I'm intrigued by, whatever I'm interested in? Are those the things that I'm doing, or are the things that I'm doing, is it something that other people have told me, or is it how it just is? And the world is conditioning to feeling like into thinking you have to do certain type of things or take certain type of steps to get somewhere in life. Like, for example, when you graduate from high school, you're supposed to go to college and get a degree and take that degree and get a really good job. Is that what you're doing right now, based off of society or based off of what your parents are telling you should do? Sometimes people are in these family dynamics where it's almost as if your future is already predestined and written for you, because your family has already told you this is what you're going to be, this is who you're going to be, this is how you're going to act. Countless times we see many people in real life or depicted through movies or even through books, and they're moving off of the desire of others. And when they do that, 10 times out of 9, yes, 10 times out of 9, they end up in this life that's just so unhappy and so unsatisfying. And, they get to a certain point where they're like, to hell with this. Like, I don't even want to do, you have those people that just say, to hell with this. I'm going to do what I want to do. And some of them fall off and turn into bummy looking type people, And then you have some people that say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to step out. I want to be my own person. I want to, let my wings fly. I don't care what my family or my peers are going to say about me. I'm going to do this for me. Are you that kind of person? Because if you're not, that's where we need to be working to get to. Many times we're conditioned by society, by our environment, by our parents, by our peers, by our friends. We're almost peer pressured into doing and being a certain type of way when that's not really what we want to be. You got to figure out what it is that you want to be. How do you react? What are your true reactions and actions? And what are your true interests and hobbies? And, not what I'm supposed to look like or what I'm supposed to be doing. This is some of the stuff that you really have to sit down and think to yourself. And only you are going to know this. I can't tell you this. Only you will know it. So this is why it's also important to be very honest and transparent with self. Okay. When you are analyzing and reflecting, sometimes people may say or come to the assumption that I don't like myself, because you pinpoint and you nitpick at many different things And because there's many different things that you've nitpicked at, you associate that with being, I don't like myself, when that's not necessarily true. Humans are their own worst critic. We've all heard that. You'll continue to hear it because it's the absolute truth. You are your own worst critic. You see you the way you see you. Your flaws, you know, if they're not like just open and out for others to see, you know your flaws. And because you know your flaws, you always critique yourself. That's why, for example, a lot of the time when it comes to men and women, a woman will put on a dress and, you know, she'll have like a little fupa. For people who don't know what a fupa is, it stands for fat upper pelvic area. How about that? You know, just a little fat pud right above. And she'll say, baby, how do I look? Does this make me look fat? And he'll like he can be 100% honest and be like, no, baby, oh my God, you look so good in that. You look so sexy, blah, 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 blah. But because she's her own worst critic, she's looking in the mirror and she's focusing on her flaw. And she doesn't think that she look good. And then now she's feeling insecure about it. And now she's probably thinking that her man lying to her saying that she look good, you know. So then she may start arguing with him saying, well, how you gonna say I look good and I got this, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? You are your own worst critic. You know your flaws. You know your shadows. So when you are in the process of analyzing and reflecting, remember to give yourself some grace, because it is very human-like, and it is our nature to sometimes focus on the negatives, because the negatives are what needs improving. So instead of focusing on the positive, we see the negatives automatically and we focus on that. And this is kind of what I was discussing in one of our other videos, that you have to start skewing your mind to see positivity. Instead of automatically going to the negative first, you have to train your mind to automatically recognize positives and to point out the positives and to only focus on the positives. Because when you only focus on the positives inside of your brain, remember, you're creating new neural pathways inside of your brain. So the next time you have something of that thought or something similar of that thought, those new neural pathways that you have set, they should be able to kick in automatically for you. Instead of you focusing on the negative, now you start to focus on the positive. And it's the same way when it comes to stuff like this, because that's just not with body image. That can be with anything. That can be with your love life, that can be with your career life, decisions that you make, you know, how you look physically, how you feel, stuff that are not tangible. It doesn't even matter. You can have those type feelings. So it is important to give yourself a little bit of grace when you're going along this process to, yes, recognize the negatives, but also recognize the positives. Never leave out the positives. Always recognize them. Energy goes and energy flows where energy goes. So always make sure that when you're going through this process of getting to know self, that you point out the positives of self as well. So guys, one issue that many of us usually have in life is we strive to be perfect. And if we're not perfect, or what we think perfect should be, then we kind of say, okay, I'm not happy. I'm not happy where I'm at. I'm not happy with who I am, because it's not your depiction or society's depiction of perfect. You don't have every single thing that you want, so you think something's wrong. And then that's not necessarily the case. I think when people try to be perfect, I think that's some type of not a mental disorder, but yeah, in a sense, there's some type of mental conditioning that's going on up there that's making you want to prove yourself to somebody. It's probably comes from childhood, especially parents who are kind of like on your case all the time about making good grades and clean your room and fix yourself, and you shouldn't do that, and you should have looked like that. Having those really like critiquing parents, that's probably where that kind of nature comes from, because you always want to prove yourself to them. You always want to prove like, okay, yeah, I am good. Like, I want to prove to you that I can be the best at this and I can be the best at that. A lot of the times people are just proving themselves to others, and they kind of, in a sense, neglect self. And that's why those type of people end up unhappy at the end of the day too. When you try to, what do they call it? Please. When you try to people please, you neglect self. You don't love self when you try to people please. Because why are you trying to please somebody else when you should be pleasing yourself? When you please yourself, right? That energy that you feel from self is love. That love is felt from the inside. And that love from the inside should go in and radiate on the outside. So it's giving love right back. It's a complete cycle. So people pleasing is not person pleasing. It's not self pleasing. It's people pleasing. And you need to put more into self. You need to focus more on self. You focus on self first, and self will take care of others. That's how that works. You're your own person. Nobody else can focus on self. Yes, people can do nice things for you, and that feels good. Yes, it does. But there's a different type of love that comes from self. And when you give it, trust me, you will glow, and you will radiate that same energy and frequency right back out of you, and you will give it to other people, and they will give it to other people, and those people will give it right back to you, and it is a complete cycle. So, no people pleasing, only self-pleasing. And let's talk about the next step in the process. So at this point, we've sat here and we've, evaluated, do I like myself or not? What are things that I don't like about myself? Here are the things that I do like about myself. The next question is, where am I at right now? And where do I want to be? You need to be honest with yourself when it comes to that, because you need to compare it. I would do a chart, and I would do one side, who I am right now, where I am, who I am / where I am right now. And on the other side of the chart, I would put where I want to be. At the end of doing that exercise, filling on both sides of that chart, I would analyze it, and then I would figure out how to create steps that is going to get me to where I need to be. That's the next part. You have to create a blueprint. You need a plan. You have to have a plan. Do you guys remember when we were back in school? And I don't know how young or how old you guys are, but I'm 30 now. So I'm a 90s baby. When I was back in school, they gave us planners, and they always gave us agendas. All the way back to kindergarten, I can remember having a planner or an agenda. You need that. Now, that is one thing that the educational system taught us that we definitely need to take for the rest of our lives. You need a plan, guys. You have to be organized. So when you write down where you are right now and where you want to be, now we're going to start writing some steps. We're going to have to get those creative juices flowing to write some steps of where we feel like, if I do this, this will take me to where I want to be. And trust me, when you write it down, it makes things a lot clearer. Even if you feel like, well, I already know in my head, like I know where I am now, and I know where I want to be, it doesn't matter. Remember, I told you it's something that happens when you put pen to paper. There's some type of magical transition that goes on between your brain and your hand, and that creativity just flows, and answers from within start flowing to you. So spend some time there, write some steps, at least 5 to 10 things that you feel like you can do that is going to get you to your goal, to who the person is that you want to be and where you want to be in life. And then that is going to now be your blueprint. That's going to be your checklist. That's going to be your guide. That's probably going to be the most helpful thing for you throughout the process. So once you have that plan, right, what do you think the next step is? Start doing it. Like, start acting like you are that person. As soon as you figure out, as soon as you have your definite goal, remember that, or that definite chief aim, according to Napoleon Hill, the next step is action. No matter if you're ready or not, you want to go ahead and start taking some actions to get to that goal, because the universe moves for people who move for themselves. And a lot of the times, people could be so close to like getting exactly what they want. They could come up with the best idea in the world, but the problem is they never take action. So that idea never gets out, or somebody else thinks of the idea. You know what I think? On some real, sometimes I feel like when you start connecting with self, you start to hear answers from within. They just come out of nowhere. Especially the more you work your brain, your creativity, your imagination, the answers just come to you. When you don't move on those ideas, or that when you don't move on those ideas or that burst of information, I feel like sometimes the universe will give it to somebody else. And I know that sounds so funny, but I truly believe that, because I can think about a few things that I've had a great idea about it, and either I've lost like that, you know, that momentum to actually do it, I've lost that, or somebody else has already thought of the idea and did it. And yes, I could still do it, but it was just like, dang, I thought of that idea when nobody had it out and blah, 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 and I could have did it, but I didn't. So action. You want to start doing that. I would pick like a few things from the list, and either every day or every week, I would add on something new. So for example, if I was to say, I want to be the type of woman who wakes up in the morning and puts on a full face and puts on really nice threads and look confident and beautiful and sexy, right? That's what I would put down. So my steps to getting there is I'm going to wake up 2.5 hours before I have to leave out of the house to ensure I have enough time. I am going to pick out my outfit before the night so that it's already ready. I'm gonna pick out all of my outfits for the week on Sunday night. I'm gonna do it like that, right? Those are the steps that I'm going to be writing down, and I'm gonna start taking those actions. So maybe for the first week, I'm just gonna focus on, okay, I'm gonna get up early and do my makeup for the first week, right? After a first week and the next week comes up, okay, I'm gonna wake up early, do my makeup, and I'm gonna plan my outfits for the week. And keep going just like that. And that's with anything. That can be maybe like a new project you want to start, maybe a new task, or like a new skill that you want to learn. That's how you do it. You're going to set some goals for yourself, and each week you're going to add on something new until you finish out your list. And naturally, you're going to find new things to add to that list, because as you elevate and ascend, you're going to have new desires. You're going to want more things. You're going to see, ooh, I like this. I like how this makes me feel. I want more of this, or I want to try something different like that. That's naturally going to come up with life. So you don't worry about, am I going to run out of things to do? You're never going to run out of things to do, because remember, where energy flows or where energy goes, energy flows. So once you start planting that seed inside of your mind, you have created a new neural pathway that's saying, I need to do something new. I need to stay on this path of improvement and consistency. That's where we're going to need to have some consistency, because that first week, just because you do it that first week don't mean that you fall off the second week. No, you finish whatever you did the first week, you still continue doing that for the second week and the third week and the fourth week, but you're just adding on. So you want to be consistent. So that's also going to be building some discipline, and that's going to be building some other habits in there as well. So kind of like a win-win-win type situation, if you ask me. So take action, guys. Now, the last thing that we are going to be talking about is ways to get to know self. Because now we've discussed how I feel about self, how I see myself right now, where I want to go. These are the steps that I'm going to take to get to where I want to go, and I'm going to start right now. So now these are going to be like some exercises of different ways that you can get to know yourself, because sometimes people are like so stuck in their everyday mundane schedule and routine to where they're like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I like. It's a Monday afternoon and I don't have work. I don't know what to do. Wow. this is where this part is going to come in handy for you. These are going to be some different techniques and strategies or exercises that you can use and do to get to know yourself. So, first one is to spend some time with self solo. One of the best ways to get to know yourself is to block out all of the noise and all of the smoke from others, from your environment, from people around you, from work, from school, and to just be by yourself. Whether that's staying at home, cooking yourself a nice meal, setting up some really nice wine, running yourself a long hot bath, just basically romanticizing yourself inside of the home is a great example of that. Taking yourself out on dates, do some things that you've always wanted to do, and throw some things in there that you would probably never do, because that's how you surprise yourself. You'll get to a point where it's like, okay, I did that, what next? Do something that you would probably never do. Push yourself outside your comfort level and see exactly where you go. You can only go up. Because even if you push yourself to do something that you normally wouldn't do and you failed at doing it, you still go up because you pushed yourself to do something that you never did before. So now you've gained new knowledge and wisdom on something that you didn't have before. So it's still a win. A win is a win. So I would recommend that. Take yourself out on dates. Take yourself on movie dates. Some people feel like funny when they go out by themselves, or anxieties. Some people have social anxiety. Social anxiety is very real. I would do a movie date. It's dark. No one will see you. No one will see that you're not with anyone else. You can order your tickets online. So when you get there, it's just the boom, boom, boom type transition. So you don't really have to stand around too much if you feel funny, if you're that type, or it feels weird. Dinner dates. That's something you may have to work yourself up to depending on who you are. I don't mind taking myself out to dinner by myself. I actually do it at home. So when I'm at home, I make gourmet meals for myself. I put out my wine, my nice utensils, and my dishes and what's not, and I have a really nice meal right there at home, as if I'm at a restaurant. I have nice music playing, candles lit, the whole 9 yards. So when I go out into public, other than the fact that there's other people there, it doesn't feel anyway. And yeah, there's other people there, but they're not worried about you. You really think somebody's gonna be sitting at a table with their dates or their friend and be like, ooh, you see that woman over there sitting by herself? Ooh, ha ha ha. They're not worried about you. Now, if you go out there looking good, now that I would recommend. Go out there looking good, hair done, face done, done up, smell good, look classy and sexy, not trashy and slutty. And take yourself out and have the man staring at you. What's the word, gawking? I think that's the word, gawking over you. I don't know, it just feels right to say it. Somebody fact check me on that. It felt right to say it though. Yeah, have them literally drooling over you, okay? But that's if you want that type of attention when you get to that stage. But yes, take yourself out on dinner dates and enjoy that. And do whatever. Take yourself out on solo activities. A lot of the time, that's where you'll meet friends. Or if you're open and single, you can meet people. Other people go out and do things solo as well. You're not the only one that's doing it. And many times, guys, you will learn that energy, frequency, vibration is real. You're not the only person with the same vibration. So if you go out solo and you put in your mind that I intend to meet someone while I'm out, then the universe has no choice but to move that for you, depending on how intense you believe that you will meet somebody when you go out. Let's put it like that. So go out on your own. Take yourself on dates. Spa dates. That's another good one. You don't have to worry about feeling weird. It's solo, get your nails done, all that, those type dates. Another way to get to know yourself could be through therapy. You could actually go to a professional therapist. Many people I know, especially my type people, for some reason there's this negative stigma when it comes to therapy. And I think that it has everything to do with perspective. Again, it is how you see it. How do you view therapy? because people think, oh, I'm gonna go there and tell my business to a random stranger and right. No, it's not about telling your business to a random stranger. A lot of the times a random stranger could be a lot more helpful than people that you have in your life, because they're not biased. They don't know anything that's going on. They have no reason to judge, and they have no ill intent. So it can be a lot easier talking to a stranger, actually. And therapy is not about just telling your business to somebody. Therapy is about allowing somebody into your mind to help you sort things out. Sometimes things move way too fast inside of our minds, and we're not able to process it properly, and we need to slow down so that we can think logically. Especially females, we move with emotions, versus men, they move with more logic. So for us females, those emotions can create smoke and mirrors, and we're not able to see a situation as clearly as somebody else that's looking from the outside in. That's where a therapist comes in. They're looking from the outside in. They've had some professional as well as personal experience now dealing with others, talking with others, and helping them sort through type issues. That's how I see therapy, as an aid to help me sort through what's already going on inside my mind. It's not for me to just tell somebody my business, but it's actually for me to help myself. But to each his own. Another way that you are going to get to know self is by doing shadow work. Yes, shadow work. So when I had looked up what is shadow work, let me see, did I write it down? It said, doing shadow work is exploring the darker and hidden aspects of the mind. It's usually those aspects that are repressed and avoided. So for me, shadow work is like doing the inner work. It is doing the self work. Sorry, y'all, the dog Dutch is back there. Can y'all hear her? Shadow work is doing your inner work. It's doing your self work. It's going into those shadows that you choose not to walk into, that you've avoided, that you've repressed. You've pushed it all the way to the back of your head. You may not even remember it much. And a lot of the times it is stuff that you remember, but it's traumatic and you prefer not to go back there. Shadow work is actually walking in those shadows, determining what's the problem, getting down to the root issue and healing it and treating it right then and there, so that you can move forward with a positive mindset, and not just a positive mindset, but for your body to actually feel a sense of release and peace when it comes to the topic, because the body does hold a lot of our emotions. It does keep the score, and that is a great book. It's called The Body Keeps the Score, and I don't have it near me, but you guys can look that up on Amazon. That is an awesome book that explains how different things that go on inside of our head, different traumatic experiences, although we may feel like we've gotten through it, our body actually holds that energy inside, and that energy affects and creates different types of conditions and illnesses within the body. So doing your shadow work allows you to break through those type of detrimental blockages to give you a sense of peace and positivity moving forward. I highly recommend that you do some shadow work. Shadow work is not for the weak, okay? But once you get through it, hey, you in there. Once you get through it, you did it, you through. And some people like walking in their shadows. I'm one of them. I don't mind walking in those shadows every now and then. Shoot, I might walk in them every day. Because your shadows is like, again, your shadows is usually where your character and your personality is built from. It's where it was created from. So walking in your shadows, doing your shadow work, gives you much deeper understanding of exactly who you are, why you do certain things, why you operate the way you do, why your mind goes to that and thinking that way. It answers that why. A lot of people always want to know the why. Shadow work answers that clearly, loud and clearly, okay? So I highly recommend getting into some shadow work. You can also do some things that you enjoy doing as a child. Bring out that inner child, awaken that inner child, and show him or her some attention. Many times As a child, you have certain hobbies and interests that you actually like doing, but over time, again, with conditioning, just, with time itself, you may lose those interests, or you matured and you ended up following this type crowd and you no longer do this or do that. Try to get back to that. Try to remember what you used to do as a child, what you used to enjoy doing, and start doing it again and see how you feel. It's a great way to get to know yourself. It can be an indicator of where you may need to get back to, where you may need to go and re-explore, recreate, reconstruct, restore maybe. And it can also show you a great deal of growth from where you've been to saying, okay, yeah, this is nice, but it's not for me anymore. And that gives you a great sense of growth and appreciation for growth itself. Another thing you can do, now this is something that I would only recommend doing this with people who you have in your life that you trust to give you the right information, because the wrong person can lead you down the wrong road if you don't have high enough self-esteem or high enough self-confidence. And that is to ask people how they view you. Imagine that. Ask your friends, your close friends, your family, your peers, co-workers, if you're a student, some of your fellow students, ask them how they see you. How do they view you? How do they think you are? Who do they think you are? How do you act? Ask them. I dare you to. This will give you a great, should we say representation? Yeah. This will give you a great representation of the person who you are showing the world, who you allow us to see. And I said representative for a reason, because sometimes when you meet people, it's like you're meeting their representative and it's not actually them until you get to know them. So whoever that mask is, whoever that person is that you are giving off to others for them to see when they first meet you, or who you are now, yeah, you want to ask that question so you can find that out for yourself. A lot of the times when you keep hearing the same thing over and over again, there may be some truth there. When you ask people who really know you, people who love you, people who've been knowing you your whole life, there may be some truth there. It can help you understand a lot of things. It can help you grow from things, let go of things. It can help you to recognize certain patterns that you may have, especially if you have somebody in your life who is completely honest with you and not afraid to tell you the hard stuff. A lot of the times people just want to tell us what we want to hear, but sometimes telling us what we want to hear doesn't allow us to grow and ascend. You have to feel it. Yeah, sometimes you got to feel it. You have to feel it to heal it, baby. And then the last thing that I recommend doing to getting to know yourself is journaling. Journaling is when you get you a book. It does not matter what kind of book it is. It could be a regular notebook just like this. It can be an actual journal. It doesn't matter. And you want to journal whatever it is that's on your heart. You can start with how your day was, how you felt today. If anything interesting happened, if something happened that rubbed you the wrong way. You can put dreams if you had a really weird dream or something that you just can't get off your mind. Journal it there. When you start journaling, sometimes it can feel a little bit odd and you may not know what to journal about, or you don't know what to write. So you really don't write too much in anything, or you don't really get too in deep. You kind of keep it superficial. But the more you begin journaling, it is an exercise. It's almost like a muscle itself. The more you continue journaling, the more deeper into it you'll get. The more you'll realize that as you're writing, it's like your mind is writing. It's like your mind is talking. It's like your hand is writing, but it's like your mind is talking because you're just letting it out. And sometimes you'll write, and you'll forget what it is that you're writing about, but it just feels so good to let it out and to get it out and to release it. Journaling is a form of self-therapy. It is a great form of releasing and not having to release it out on others who don't deserve it. So it's a great way to build some emotional intelligence. If you're looking for a way to manage your emotions, journaling would definitely be an option for that as well. And I think journaling allows you a great opportunity to reflect, because sometimes I don't write. Like when I journal, I don't go back and read it right then and there the same day. I don't even read it the same week, the same month, sometimes not even the same year. But like, let's say something happens in my life and it reminds me of a previous time. Sometimes I can go back to my journal and I can go read through something, and then things just start clicking for me. Like, it can be the simplest thing, as in just, oh, I met a certain type of person today. Later on down the road, you needed that person for a certain type thing, but you can't remember who they were. So you go back to your journaling and boom. It can be something as simple as that. And it can be something that's a little bit more complex, such as showing you patterns that you do over and over again that may not necessarily be helpful to your current life or to the life that you are building. And that's really the goal that you want to get out of journaling. You want that. Journaling will tell you about yourself, because as you write, you're writing exactly what you think and how you feel, and there's no judgment. You literally are writing exactly how you feel. It's unscripted. It's not premeditated, right? It's straight from the mind and just flowing. Journaling allows your mind to flow. And then when you go back and you read that stuff, a lot of the times you drop gems and you didn't even realize what you were dropping at the time, but you know, the energy was just there. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, which was about, oh my God, what was today about? Oh my God, y'all, I really forgot. Oh yeah, self. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode about learning about the most important relationship that we have in this life, and that is the relationship with self. I hope that you take much and many gems from this. Do some of the exercises, analyze, and do some reflection, guys. Be open, honest, and transparent with yourself so that we can all grow together, develop together, ascend together, and elevate together. Again, if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and like that video for me, comment, subscribe, turn on your post notification bell so that you are notified at the next video. And I will see you guys later. Ciao.